Well. Here we are. All right, how do we get rid of this? There we go. This is going to be a whole lot of learning curve during the whole damn thing. What's up, my brother Hoogie?
How are you doing, sir?
I am okay if I can find my phone where the alarm to start the podcast is going off. Oh, there it is. See what I mean? It's a shit.
Welcome to the first ever podcast.
Yeah,
I'm your host.
with me, I'm going to have to hit this button a lot. So, welcome everyone to the first podcast. I'm scared crapless. It's my first time doing it, but I couldn't feel more better than to do it with Mr. Hoogie from WB Gear. One of the most sweetest gentlemen I know, touring brother.
I'm scared too, and I don't have any pants on under this.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one. Just making sure. Why wear pants? Ever since the pandemic, I could do this, and
nobody knows.
Nobody knows shit. No, thanks for doing this, Hoogie. I appreciate it.
Dude, honestly, it's a pleasure getting to do this. You reached out to me about a month ago, and I'm honored that I was the first. You have a Rolodex of friends, and to the fact that you asked me to be the first person on your podcast, thank you.
Well, I have a Rolodex. I don't like most of them. I'm just kidding. But well, I thought about it, and I sat kind of with the list. And what's messed up is you can't see it, but right here I actually have a monitor that I set up with questions, because I'm old, I'm not gonna remember shit. But what happened one day was I started like, I want to get so-and-so, and I started writing down their names, and I realized they weren't with us anymore. And then that list grew to which now I'm looking at 2 pages. And I'm like, all right, how do I want to approach this? How do I want to do this? Who do I want to be on? And I do have, like, I'll make the announcement later who my second guest is and then who my third guest will be. But, and we're going to get Fape on here and Sanders, because that's just going to be hysterical.
That'll be a good one.
I actually can get all of you on here with this thing. But I started thinking, how do I want to start this? And I just want to tell some cool stories, and with you, we've never toured together, but, your locker is right down from my shop. We get to hang. It's because of you I buy gear, stupid things like countdown clocks and pedals. But I wanted to, I guess it was the fact that you've always just been one of the nicest people I've ever run into, no matter what. And, Zach and Eric and everybody in Shinedown, in case anybody doesn't know, Hoogie is also the bass tech for Shinedown. And that's how we originally met. But you've just been such a nice person. And I don't want, in an industry full of assholes. Wait, am I supposed to do that? Yeah. In an industry full of assholes, I don't want to have the first person on here be an asshole, because I'm going to have some of my friends who are just straight up Long Island, New Jersey assholes.
Yeah.
And it's, that's the whole premise behind this, is raw, real, and unfiltered. I don't want to be one of those guys who goes by a script. I don't want to be one of those guys who just plans everything out, because we don't plan anything on a road. Shit happens
day in, day out. You never know what you're going to get tossed from load in to sound check to showtime,
Now
load out.
Yeah. And load out. Geez, you don't even, well, we're going to get to that, because I got those questions here, but I do have to state for the record, as a matter of legalities for the podcast, that I am not a therapist, but I do see one. The rules of the podcast are real simple, and I lay them down for everybody. I do not discuss politics or religion. Religion, no. Politics, no. For the simple fact is, I've lost friends over that crap. And it's not worth it. I respect everybody's right to choose. I expect everybody's right to believe what they want to believe. Just let's not fight about it. And the other thing is, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to be your therapist, although I do see one, but this is a safe space for people to be themselves. So with that being said, let's get into you. So tell me about how you started in our industry.
Oh boy. I was very, very young. I was 17 years old, hanging out with all the wrong people, I guess you could say. I think it was my senior year of high school. I started tagging along with this band from Canada. I'm Canadian. I still live in Canada. I live in Chatham, Ontario. And when I fell into this business, I was in BC, Vancouver, BC, and I started hanging out with this band called Jar at the time.
Mhm.
And they later signed a record deal to Columbia Records. They changed their name to Flybanger. And yeah, needless to say, none of them are really, doing it in the form that you and I are doing it years and years and years later. God, 26 years later. But that's where I sort of cut my teeth was with that band.
Wow.
Uh, Hanging out with all the wrong people, learning all the things not to do, I guess. Traveling across the country in a van and a trailer or a box truck or sleeping on top of an 810. Like, you know, I definitely cut my teeth, touring back and forth across Canada. I would say in the early 2000s, I landed a gig with Theory of a Dead Man, which took me out in the States a lot.
I love them.
Uh, they were great. They brought me everywhere, and every band we ended up opening up for, I ended up getting work from after. Stained, Breaking Benjamin, Shinedown, all bands I ended up spending some time with and hitting the road with for. Well, God, Shinedown, I've been with them on and off 13 years. Breaking Ben, I did the Phobia record. Stain, in and out. I've been with them since 2007. I'd still go back with them this day to help out Mike Mushak. He's always been a sweetheart of a guy.
I
Uh,
remember him. I met him once, and he was literally a friggin' sweetheart.
he is.
Like,
He's
you
he's
look at him
one.
and go, "Ugh," but no, he's sweet.
Yeah, he's one of the nicest guys in rock. You know, uh, and then for about 5 years, I was with Lamb of God.
Nice.
I landed that gig through their management company, who used to also manage Breaking Ben. So yeah, just hanging out with all the wrong people and keep meeting the wrong people, and here we are, 20, almost seventh year of doing this.
Right.
Everything I do is not necessarily right. It's just the way I do it. It's
Well, I agree with that because I think we all there is no set parameter for what we do.
no,
There is a set parameter for you wake up, you load in, you do the sound check, you do the show, you load out. That's
yeah,
literally your parameter a day. When you eat is up to you. What you do is up to you. How you do it is up to you, and you just make it your own. It's
yeah,
like I just did. I just finished up TSO, and me and Jeff Hines, our drum techs, playback guy. We're underneath the stage, so we're in the stage left wing, and we're underneath, and we had our world set up. I have my work box, and you've seen my work box with the TV in it, and we've got the camera hooked up, and yada, all that stuff, and it's you set up, and I know you're just like me because I've seen your work box a few times. You are OCD where your work box is like mine. It's set up identical every day.
every day. Your
Every
work
day.
box is the same. Your rack's the same. Your where you put your guys' drinks are the same.
Mhm.
You want to, I know the stages can be different, the venues can be different, but come that time when they're on stage, you want them to know where to go without, thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
what you're
just
used to.
yeah,
You kinda they train you into knowing their show for their guitars, drums, keys, whatever, but you're also training them to make your life easier. So if there's, a Gibraltar stand set up over here and their drinks and all their stuff are on it, they know to go there every night. And after like the third or fourth show, they instantly gravitate towards that. That's where they
yeah,
know to go. If you're doing guitar changes, you do them in a certain spot, they know where to go.
yeah.
And it's everyone thinks, yeah, our job's pain in the ass. Let's be clear, but at the same time, we make it our own. We tailor it to us because we're the ones who have to bend over, run upstairs, run downstairs, do all of that shit.
Fall off stairs. Every everything, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the lifestyle that I fell into.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever change it. You
No.
know, I was a kid. I was 14. I was watching, going to concerts, watching these people in black shirts running back. I was never going to be that guy on stage. I've
Mhm.
never been that guy in a band. I've never, you know, outside of jamming with the warm up room. You got some pets there?
Yeah, I can't close the dogs off. My oldest gets mad at me. He's
I
sitting
get you.
begging me for food. Go lay down.
Luckily, I have somebody watching the kids. They'd be in here hanging out with us too.
Oh, dude, it's a no, no, it's not a family art show. Let me ask you this. So, obviously, pandemic hurt a lot of people. You
It did.
know, it hurt a lot of people financially. It hurt a lot of people mentally. Um,
It it was a completely different beast from my country to your country.
I know I keep forgetting you're in Canada. Strange brew. I keep thinking strange brew. No, well,
Yeah,
tell me about that. So, tell me about the difference between your country and my country as far as
it
the pandemic.
it was locked the pardon my French, hit that beep,
Ready?
fuck down. Like it was locked down for almost a year and a half.
Well, so were
Uh,
we. I mean, there was no
but
touring.
you could go out and do things.
Yeah.
You couldn't even hang out with your neighbors here without getting a fine.
Wow.
They would show up and give you a people were ratting people out for having gatherings. You couldn't have gatherings more than 5 people or
Wow.
10 people, depending on the time of the COVID.
Right.
It was crazy. It was, for me, it was about 6 months of being stuck in Canada and not really coming to the States. At what point I came down and helped Eric Bass, who I tech
Mhm.
for the last 10 years with Shinedown. I helped him build the studio. He called me up and, hey, I was fortunate enough to do the Attention record with Shinedown, where I was sort of their day-to-day assistant and guitar tech on the record. They had been writing the next record, which is now Planet Zero. I went there and he moved out of his studio of 13 years and was building a brand new studio on his property.
Mm,
And just right away from when I crossed the border, you could just tell the difference.
right.
And it was night and day. And then people were out doing things. Some people were wearing masks, some people weren't. You couldn't go nowhere without a mask in Canada. Occupations at a lot of places, like occupancy at a lot of places were less than half, 40%. Couldn't go to restaurants, couldn't do, my kids couldn't go to school. My kids probably spent, I think it was when we did the math, it was over 400 days of online school sitting in front of a computer.
Wow.
Uh, and at that time, that was kindergarten. That was grade one. That was grade two. That's pretty rough.
Well, I had the
Yeah.
same situation with my daughter, because my daughter has a heart condition. So, I obviously listen again, we're not gonna get into politics, but I got the shot. I got the shot, not for me, for my child.
Yes.
And I had someone ask me, I gotta tell this is I had someone ask me, why are you gonna get that shot? I said, dude, I grew up swimming in the Hudson friggin' River. I ain't afraid of no damn shot. If
Yeah.
I'm still alive after swimming in there for years as a kid, I'm good. But so anyway, I think for me, my daughter going to online schooling was the best thing that ever happened to her because it brought her from a C.D. student up to a straight A student with almost a perfect 4.0 GPA
Nice.
because we were able to monitor her. We had to approve all her lessons. We had to do everything online. She couldn't submit a lesson until we looked at it and made sure it was right.
Yeah.
And now, that's the one thing I'm grateful for. Plus, it kept her out of the school drama, because,
Yes.
high school drama, geez, wait,
Because yours is 18, right? I think
my
you said.
youngest is 18
Yeah.
and now moved out on her own with her brother. So they're living in their own house and they're doing, she's doing his job. She's doing her job. So
My
it's good.
my oldest is 18, so we were right around there at the same time. Uh, she'll be 19 this summer.
Wow.
So yeah, it was an interesting time. The other thing too, when I would come back to my country, it was full on. You had to have a test 48 hours before. You had to take a test there. You had to take a test 10 days in. You had to take a test 4 days after. Like you showed up and there was dudes in hazmat suits greeting you. Like,
Jeez.
and I think I spent about 6 weeks of my life in lockdown, where
Mhm.
when I came home, I had to go to my basement and spend 2 weeks in my basement away from my family. Uh, I couldn't get the shot in Canada. I got it in the States because it came out like we were probably about 4 to 6 months after you when I was able to get the shot.
Right.
So fortunately, I just walked into a CVS and they'd ask no questions, and here you go. It sent me on my way.
Yeah.
Because of having that I got to avoid lockdowns.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, some
yeah,
bands wouldn't even let you work for them unless you got the shot.
huh?
You know,
I know.
I know a lot of guys who, and going back to what we started about, is like what the pandemic's done to people is like, not only mentally and financially. I mean, I know for me and my wife we almost lost that, we lost everything financially, and we were just doing whatever we could to keep, the roof over our head. And I'm grateful because there were people that helped. And, obviously we've talked. I was sick during the pandemic. I had an illness. I had two actually. One where I almost lost my foot. Um, and it's like, thank God for Music Cares, number one, because they covered my bills for that. And the other one is thank God to my Masonic Lodge because they helped cover the bills for my dental work that was, part of the surgery I'd have to have. So, but there are guys who weren't that lucky. There are guys who, because they're strong convictions and I respect them, and I have friends who still haven't gotten the shot to this day, they couldn't work.
Yeah.
They had to wait till they lifted, bands lifted that restriction of having that. So, coming from my country to your, I get it. It's one of those things. I totally get it. But let me ask you this. So, in your turn. But well, see what happens is when your phone rings, we have a dance break. What have you seen now that the state of our industry? What have you seen as far as, and I'll narrow it down. I mean, well, there's really no narrowing it down. What have you seen that has changed from before the pandemic touring to after the pandemic touring? Because I know where you're going to go because it's probably the same place I'm going to go, but I got to hear it.
Definitely. I mean, probably the labor shortage
Yeah.
everywhere is a big thing, but it seems to be that way in every industry now.
Yeah.
There's people don't want to go out and do those jobs that, they used to do before.
Right.
This next generation is definitely a different breed when it comes to rolling up their shirts and getting their hands dirty.
Yeah, last year, I did Janet Jackson. I was production manager for Janet Jackson, and I coined the phrase, we were short on quality and short on quantity, because we'd have 75, 80 locals in the morning, 90%, no, let's say 80%. I'll be nice. 80% didn't know their ass from their elbow.
Yeah,
and then at night, out of the call of 90, maybe 70 showed back up.
yeah,
And that seems to be the ongoing thing. When I was, I stage managed Goo Goo Dolls 2 years ago. Great camp, by the way. And we rolled up to, I want to say, you might know this place, the Walmart Amphitheater. I think it's in Alabama.
yeah.
Yeah, we rolled up to that place, and it was fresh out of the pandemic. And I always held, as stage manager, I always held a meeting. I said, all right, guys, listen, I'm not here to give you any crap. I'm here to help you. Be honest with me. How many of you have never done this before? And out of a 32-person call, 30 people raised their hand. I come to find out that they couldn't get any actual real labor, so they hired Labor Ready and Manpower. So we were literally showing guys how to unlatch road cases and how to, lay out chains and, tie, bolt truss together. It's like, but you can't sit there and be angry. You have to teach. Because if not, your day just becomes so much longer.
Yeah.
But
you're not going to get nowhere getting angry at them.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
I mean, those days of the angry roadie, for me, I can just say they're gone. I mean, they disappeared, right, probably in the middle of the pandemic. When I got a therapist, angry roadie Danny went away. But he still exists, but now I just think before I open my freaking mouth. But I think the other thing too is I'm noticing it's not just local labor. I'm noticing this air of, with new techs, new roadies. They don't earn. I don't think they've earned the name tech yet. But I'm seeing arrogance, self-entitlement. I had one kid last year, shall remain nameless. I don't think anybody even knows him anyway. Was bitching about the bus stock list. This was his second tour ever. Was bitching about the bus stock list. And I was very polite. I threw a loaf of bread at him. I literally beamed right down Bunk Alley, threw a loaf of bread at him. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, dude, do you have any idea that when I started almost 40 years ago, We got handed $20 a day per diem in cash. We had to ask the bus driver to stop at the truck stop at the end of the night so we can go buy what we wanted, put our names all over shit with a Sharpie and put it in the fridge, and hopefully no one ate it or drank it. We didn't have bus stock lists. We didn't have after show food. And these kids nowadays, they're getting 40, 30, 40, $50 a day per diem and acting like after show food and, bus stock is, it's a right. Oh, yeah, you have to give that to me. No, a band can turn around tomorrow and go, no, don't think so.
They don't cut their teeth like we have.
No.
You know what I mean? They don't. The day of paying dues is over. They start a job and they want to make what it's taken you or I 30 years to make. Because I tell you this much: I have not made what I've made my whole career, and I'll be fortunate the last 15 years if I've done that.
Right.
And you're still hustling to this day to continue to keep ahead of people.
Well, I think we get guys who come in, especially, and I listen, I'm proud to be a backline guy. I love what I do. I love guitars, basses, keys. I love the fact that I don't know what it's going to do and I can't wait for something to happen so I can fix it. That's just me. But there's guys coming in who took a class at some school in Florida, shall remain nameless, or, set up their buddy's gear at a club and think that they deserve, what we make, but they're going to undercut us. So they get the gig. And I had a couple management companies do that to me, and it bit them in the ass because they're calling me going, hey, can you fix this? Sure. Send it to my shop. I'm going to charge you my hourly rate and you're going to pay it. No, we need you to come on the road. Cool. I'm going to charge you my day rate in cash up front. Oh, well, we can't. Well, you have to make a decision. Keep hiring children.
Yeah.
Or get it done right. I built a couple rigs for an artist a few months ago. And in my, my final bill, it says all rigs are warranted unless you take them apart. So I had the one kid, dumbass, call me up and go, hey, I kind of took the rig apart. I wanted to change some things around. I said, who told you to do that? Well, I did it. Okay, cool. I email management. Just want to let you guys know I just received a call from so-and-so. Your warranty is now void on the rig. If you need me to fix it, which they did, you have to ship it to my shop and I'll fix it. But it's these kids who think, stop. Just stop thinking you're better and just learn.
Yeah.
Close your mouth, open your eyes, open your ears. That's what I try to tell these kids. All right, so let's get into some fun stuff because we can rant on this all day. What are your favorite, I watched the fact I love the Shinedown crew. You guys crack me up. I even have my warm-up room notebook. I got my warm-up room picks. I love it. But you guys also have actually played with Shinedown.
That was neat. Like I said before, I've never been in a band. I've never done any of that, For me, it was a roommate, signed a record deal. I started hanging out with all the wrong people. One thing led to another. We had the warm-up room where the band would warm up, and we started going in there and setting things up. And as the day goes, sometimes you don't get access to the back line until noon, and you're there at 10 a.m. So you set the warm-up room up, and you've got an hour and a half to kill. Well, working with Mr. Sanders and Drew, those two just song after song after song sort of pushed me to become a little bit of a player,
right?
And learned, we learned 6 or 7 songs over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years.
That's great.
It was a lot of fun. It was nothing I've never done. Previously, we never really did crew jam until this version of the Shinedown backline crew. We never did we do some drum and bass stuff, but we never did drum, bass, guitars. That was never asked of the Shinedown crew for years.
Well, I seen you guys playing on stage with Shinedown in front of the crowd. What song are you playing and who's singing?
Well, it was the song "The Middle" by Jimmy Eat World. And how
Really?
that came to be was that was the first song that, as we call ourselves, the warm up room. That was the first song the warm up room learned, and that was the first song we started playing at line check. Shinedown has this reputation of doing the first sound check, maybe day one, maybe day two. After that, the other 25 days of the tour, they do not sound check.
Right.
It is it's turned into the warm up room doing two or three songs. That was the first song we learned. We started performing that every day for sound check. We played the biggest, venues around the world, arenas, amphitheaters, everything you can think of, soccer stadiums in Europe. To pretty much to the janitorial staff. It was great. They probably did the same thing.
I like getting people with this one. Come on, man, Rick Ashley, you can't go wrong. Sorry.
But yeah, so we did that, and then it was last July. The guys would always do an Oasis song. Mr. Smith, the singer, would walk off, Brent Smith, and the boys would break into Zach and Eric would break into an Oasis song. Well, all of a sudden they started.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
all good.
They
All of a sudden they started doing rehearsals. Started doing the Jimmy Eat World song, and I forget one thing led to another, and I think I made a joke like, "Oh, you're stealing our set list." Well, Brent was like, "You guys should play it with them."
Right.
And jokingly, one thing led to another, and then next thing you know, we rehearsed it for like a half an hour or whatever. We did this little July run of like 6 or 7 shows. We ended up doing it every night in July, and I just thought, okay, that's cool. We did that. That was that.
Right.
Never thought it would continue throughout the rest of the year. We ended up doing it every night. We ended up doing it in arenas, amphitheaters. We ended up, I don't know if it'll make their live concert they recorded, but we ended up doing it at that.
Royalties, there's mechanicals on that for playing. You need some advice, I'll give it to you.
It was for me, it was a really cool experience because I've never done that. I've never been on that side. I've never to get to do that with Ricky and Drew. It was a special moment to get to do that with those guys.
Yeah.
And especially with Eric Bass and Barry Kirch and Zach Myers up there. It was a fun time. Zach and Eric would sing it.
He's a monster player, man. I love watching him play.
He's a beast.
He really is.
Especially when the hair gets long and he's got it going. And
wait, what do we call him? We call him something.
Rick Sanders.
No,
Florida.
Dirty Sanchez.
Dirty Sanchez.
The Dirty Sanchez. Oh, I love my Ricky Sanders. We had some good times. He was out with me with Rob Thomas and Matchbox. So we definitely had some fun. He's still trying to teach me how to do that bait caster. It ain't happening, man. I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can. I gotta wait till you guys are back up at the warehouse, and I'll have him teach me again.
Do you see comments? Somebody asked.
Yeah, Glenn asked me. I responded to him.
Yeah, I don't see.
All right, Glenn.
I'm not seeing comments, but
you're not going to see them. I'll see them because normally, I don't know how to. Again, I'm still working on this thing. All right, so here's a good one for you because I know you're probably like me. What is your favorite? Give me your top 2 favorite venues.
Oh, for me, and I know it's a smaller one. I always enjoy coming back to Pine Knob.
Yeah,
here in Detroit every summer because I live right across the bridge. Not too far from Detroit. That's the closest usually to a hometown show.
Oh, okay.
So my family comes down, my kids come down. That's always a fun one. There's just something about that backstage area, back behind there, the woods. I don't know. Pine Knob's always
I agree.
It's always been a special place. It seems like we've been there every year for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always enjoyed it. I've always really enjoyed going back there. The people are great. The staff is great. The loaders are great. It's, it's a tight area when it comes to, prep work for decks and space and load in and load out. But, I think just the atmosphere makes up for it.
Yeah.
And it's always, when is it not sold out there?
I know.
It's insane.
Never not done a show there sold out.
I've never done a show there and been like, oh wow, nobody cares. No, right. It's always 20,000 strong.
Yeah.
No matter what show it is.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm up there with you. I didn't even think of Pine Knob, so now I have 3.
Yeah. So Pine Knob, I would say, is definitely one. There's just so many places to think of, you know.
Shit, I just thought of a fourth one. Damn it.
What do you got?
Well, I'm going to get a lot of flack from my friends on this one, but I love what used to be the Budweiser Amphitheater, which is now what? The Molson Amphitheater in Toronto.
Okay, yeah.
For some reason, I just really like that place. The catering's always banging.
The catering's always great.
And
And
there's
then they also have the little place next to it, Echo Beach, that they do
yeah,
shows at sometimes too. Yeah.
I have to say that's one of my top four. Obviously, the World in Chicago. Come on, man. I mean, for me, that place is just legendary, and they've redone it, so it's actually really, really well now. And then obviously the pinnacle for me is obviously MSG and then Red Rocks.
I got to be honest with you. I've done the MSG twice.
Yeah.
I've never done Rocks.
What?
In all of the years of touring, I've never done a show at Red Rocks.
Now, keep in mind, it completely blows for load
I
in and
know.
load out. But when I mean, just the beauty.
There's that
That's what it is.
new venue you guys got in Franklin.
It's not bad. It's little.
It's little. It's got a tight loaded, but that's got a it's the same vibe with
Yeah.
the rock back wall. They light it up. They can turn the lights, painting
Yeah.
different colors to go with the show.
We played there with the Goo Goo Dolls, and I was talking to one of the guys. A rumor has it that they're going to actually extend out the docks on that. And if they did that and then lost that stupid rampy walkway, which they could just do one straight ramp up,
Yeah.
then you can actually add in another dock. And the guy's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Yada, yada. I'm like, dude, just you stop paying people who don't do what we do and ask someone who does what we do.
Yeah.
Because it was a pretty cool place. And I was actually shocked. I mean, it's tight. You got everything's in on stage. What was it? Stage right.
I think I was under the PA on stage right.
Yeah. Yep. So was I. Actually, no, Brian BK was under the PA. I was actually out that door and around against the wall, and I used my camera to see the stage.
Yeah.
I couldn't see nothing. All right. Food. So, what is one of your favorite, do you have a favorite place that you look forward to getting to a town and know you're going to have some good food?
I mean, I'm not very picky when it comes to food. I know for me, one thing I notice is when you travel with a lot of people, you end up going out for dinner with a handful of people every time.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's got opinions.
Yep.
Everybody wants to go here, there, here. I can make whatever work.
Yeah.
So I'm always sure. Let's go there.
Right on.
Love Indian.
Yeah.
Love Thai. Love ramen. I love trying new things, sushi, all of that type of stuff. There's the obvious. You go to the West Coast, you got to have In-N-Out one day. You go to here, you got to have this one day. You go to your area, you got to have a hot chicken.
See, I was just in LA. I'm like, I can't do In-N-Out. It's like I ordered what was it? Uber Eats from Carney's.
Okay.
I'm like, just send me a couple hot dogs. That's all I care about.
There's the, you go to, St. Louis, you want, pizza, right? Whatever. There's different. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Emo's Pizza.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
No, but pizza sounds real good right now. Being a New Jersey boy, I can go for a slice from home right now. So let me ask you this. Let's kind of dive into what the podcast for me is a big part of is, mental health, mental well-being, and caring about helping other people. You're a parent. So what's like, okay. So for me, something I noticed when I'm on the road, and I kind of didn't catch it, believe it or not, till I was on TSO. That sounds so weird.
See, I hear the same thing when you do it with your drink.
But I figured it out when I was out on TSO. It's like I had all of this stuff to do every day, and then when I noticed when I'm home, like when I was on the road and I'm busy from load in to load out, and with TSO it's a lot of shit. So you're kind of busy all day long, and then
you're doing multiple shows.
And you're doing 2 shows a day, some days, most days, so, backline load in was 5, 6 a.m. sometimes,
Yeah.
and you're going to bed at 1 a.m. But the reality is, I noticed out there, I wasn't as depressed. Now, for me, and again, my podcast is about me being okay to explain who I am, to be open, and to not feel like I have to feel ashamed for being able to speak about things where most men are, they're supposed to be strong, and you're not supposed to talk about shit. I was raised that way, but screw that. But so for me, when I'm home, I don't suffer from depression. I know people do, and I feel for them because I coined myself as I deal with depression, and that I deal with it maybe an hour, maybe a day, maybe a half a day. I don't. I get myself out of it in one way, shape, or form, but I think we all get sad, depressed, you know. And for me, it's when I'm home because I have nothing to do. Now I'm an empty nester, so it's like my dogs are everything because I got no children here. But is there anything like that for you, or have you noticed that with anybody else? Having issues arise when you're on the road or when you're home, as far as your mental health.
I mean, we're go, go, go on the road. I'm the type who likes to keep busy. That's no lie. Uh, we come home and it's my family has a way of doing things for the last 6 months, or sorry, I mean 6 weeks that I've been gone. And then I come home and I don't know if it's like your house, you disrupt everything.
Bingo. Yeah, the whole routine is
You know,
right to hell.
no, we don't do that. Oh no, this is over here now. Oh no, like, so
Yeah.
like for us, it's like, dude, we literally finish that last show, we load out, we get to a hotel around 3 in the morning, and most of us are on a flight at 6 a.m. to go home.
Mhm.
There's no, oh shit, what did I just do the last 6 weeks?
Right.
There's no taking it in. And then it's just right back to this life, which I love this life, my children, everything I've got going on here. So people a lot of time ask me, what's your favorite place? My couch, because I never get to see it. Yeah, you work so hard for all this stuff around you, and you're never there.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, it's the day to day at home is definitely different.
Right.
I'm getting up at 7 a.m., getting lunches made, working on getting kids to school, doing all of that stuff. Uh,
I miss that so much, dude.
For me, what I find on a regular day at home is after I get them to school, I'll try to go to the gym just to keep keep my health, in line. We're on our feet so many hours. We walk so much. I mean, how many times we walk around an arena before we even get our gear?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah, it's easy for us to get content at home and, stand at my work box here and work on someone's guitar or whatever. I try to do that too. I try to open up my garage and
Yeah.
work on people's gear. You have a shop yourself in
Mhm.
Nashville, and you do the same thing. Uh, yeah, it's two different beasts. It's interesting.
Well, I mean, and it's going back to what we were kind of talking about off the air before we started this. We've all lost friends. I mean, let's just be clear. I mean, it doesn't. It sucks, but it also. I mean, I'm teetering closer to 60. You're getting up there. We're not getting any younger. And
No,
for me, we were talking. I'm going on. I think this May. I'm 30 years sober. And that's from pills and from alcohol. There's been some slippage on the alcohol part, but I've picked myself back up. But I know you're doing well. We both have quit smoking, which is
yeah.
great. That's it's funny. I quit alcohol and pills, and I was popping pills like a Pez dispenser. I quit alcohol and pills easier than I did quit smoking. It was like smoking was brutally hard.
For me, it'll be 6 months
Good.
next Saturday, where I haven't drank, I haven't smoked anything. I used to smoke a lot of weed. That was my thing. I
Yeah.
used to, like an ounce a week, like it was nothing for years and years and years. And just at that stage in my life, I felt, I've had, like all of us in this industry, we've had our fair share amongst, our fair share of partying more than we deserve. You
Yeah.
know, we've had more incidences that we've been in, or life experiences in one finger than half the people on your street, you know?
Oh, yeah, people ask me, they go, "Man, what is it about your life?" I mean, I have been able to see the 4 corners of this world. I have been able to see the mountains of Tibet. Someone else has paid me to do this.
Someone's paid
I have
me
been
to
very
tune a guitar to go see 59 countries.
right, and I mean, I've been very, very, blessed to be able to see all these things, and, and not have to pay for it. But, it comes with a price. There's always a price, So, going and some of our friends have paid the price. Their past lives have caught up to them, or age has caught up to them, or and I'm going to be honest with you, some guys have depression has caught up with them, and I don't like to talk about it, but I have to because I was one of those people who was going to go down that slope, and if it wasn't for and Ricky knows him. I don't know if you know him, but Andrew Crow and my brother PJ from Trickster. If it wasn't for those 2 guys, I would have never seen therapy. And it has been the best damn thing I have ever done.
Yeah.
To be able to go back pre 2007 to who I was is amazing because I never thought I would see that Danny Borga again ever.
Yeah.
And we're still doing this. You and I, we're getting old at this, and my time's going to come. I got to go have a knee replacement, but we still enjoy what we do. But there are other guys out there who I want to look out for if we can, and if they need to talk, if they need to vent, if they need to just let it go. I'm always around. And I've talked to a few people off the ledge during the pandemic. Let me tell you. So it's just being at home. You're a father, I'm a father. It sucks, but we know we're doing the right thing for our children. And that's how I always, I always justified it to me. I'm keeping a roof over their head. I'm keeping, food on their plate, whatever they needed, they had. My children have always had whatever they needed, even if I went without,
I
and
just couldn't see. I would be even, it would be an even more depression, even worse, trying to find another life, trying
yeah,
to find another job. Like I couldn't see myself being happy at all,
dude, I tried.
you
Oh my
know?
God. During the pandemic, I started studying for real estate. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
This is not me. I
Mhm.
am not book smart. I am electronics and I am real world smart,
Yeah.
and it's not that I couldn't do it, but it was just, it felt unnatural to me. But, anyway,
Agreed.
so tell you what, tell me more about WB gear. I want to hear all about it because there's something I need to buy a couple of. I need to buy Coda grips, 'cause those things look cool
Dude,
as hell.
these things are great. Here's one right behind me.
I know, I saw it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. So WB Gear is something I started in 2006.
right.
Uh, doing what we do, I knew it was always good to have other forms of revenue streams. Uh, and for me, it started off with a string company from Akron, Ohio called SIT Strings.
I love them guys.
I've been working with them doing artist relations since 2006. From there, it grew. I ended up starting to work with Intune guitar picks,
Bert,
Bert,
love Bert.
Mental Case, our fine friends,
That's
in
my
your
boy.
back, Matt and Jimmy. I've known for years. My
I
touring
started
work
with them.
boxes,
Yep, I
you know,
started with them years ago.
my flight kits, all of that stuff is all Mental Case. My first uh, back when Jimmy was making them in his garage in North Carolina.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
in Myrtle
yeah,
Beach. Yep.
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually he built my first real quote unquote work box in
yeah.
Myrtle Beach. That was like 20 something years ago.
Yeah. It was insane how long the relationship I've had with them.
Mhm.
Uh, there's some newer brands that I've been fortunate enough to pick up over the last little while. Barefoot buttons, which are the bigger buttons that you put on your pedals, so you
Oh,
have
really?
more of a spot to step on.
Mhm.
Coda Grip, which I stumbled across them just purely by mistake. It was Instagram. I found them and I reached out, and me and the owner just hit it off, and he ended up taking care of me with one and sending them out to me, and now I use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like it's a staple on tour, at home. I've got one here. It's you can clip this thing on anywhere you want and have a spot to hang your guitar. You
No,
don't
I
got to
love it.
drill nothing into the wall.
I saw it. I'm like, oh, that'll fit right there on the vault.
Yeah,
That'll fit on, for TSO. That'll fit right on the friggin' the set piece for me. I'm loving
yeah,
it. I'm like, yeah, I need a
yeah.
couple of those.
Uh, Lizard Spit
Oh,
cleaning products.
dude, you turn me on to them, and they're awesome.
They just make some of the best cleaning products out there.
Yeah, I bought so
Friendly for
much of
the
them. It's awesome.
environment. You're not getting any weird rashes or anything like some of the other brands you've used in the past. Uh, Bestronics Pro Audio or BTPA cables.
Hmm.
I've utilized them for a long time when it's come to just custom making stuff. I know you do a lot of your stuff in house,
Yeah.
but sometimes when you're on the road, you need something made relatively quick. They can do it. They
Oh
can
yeah,
make
no,
you
for
you
sure.
know they can make you everything you need and get it to you
Oh,
half
that's
the
the company you were telling me about when we were
yeah
up at the warehouse. You
yeah
were showing me. Yeah, I still need to
yeah.
get their info from you. I got. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Uh, then there's who else we got? Illuminati Guitars is a new company that I started just sort of hanging out with. I
Illuminati.
got
You
and
know,
I
amazing. Oh, that's nice. No way. That's awesome.
but
That is cool.
aluminum, carbon fiber, you
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a great little bass. Eric was using this one. It's a demo bass they sent me for. He was using it for a bit on the road with China and playing this one on Devil. And then, yeah, Rev amplification. Rev and SIT strings are the two companies I mainly do a lot of work with.
Right.
Uh, I seem to be doing things with them daily. And Rev amps, they've got the staple, the 120 that they've had forever, the Generator 120. Then we've got there's the D20, the G20, a couple new heads that we just dropped, 50 watts. They've got a line of pedals out and a lot more that's going to drop this year. So
Well,
keep
you
an eye on Rev.
you hooked me up with the distortion pedal that I
Yeah,
love. I forget the name of
probably the
it.
purple one or the green one.
I think it was black.
We did versions of them in black too.
Yeah, because if it's purple, it's got my name on it. That's all
Yeah.
I know.
Well, now you got to go buy one of those.
All right, I'm in. See, you gotta stop that. And every time I see you, I buy something. God dang it, son.
Dude, the time box that we both fell in love with. I bought one, and you're like, "That's cool. I need one."
You.
I did too.
I got
Oh,
one of
yeah,
these work box. Like,
yeah,
son of a bitch.
yeah. I
Uh,
was thinking about getting one for my fly kit too, but
well, that pedal board that I made, that's my tuning pedal board. It actually fits. It fits in a Pelican, and it's part of my fly rig. I'm like, God damn it. All right. Well,
so yeah, artist relations, outside sales,
that's
bringing
awesome.
brand awareness. A lot of these companies have artist relations guy, but they're just in an office. They're
Right.
not on a stage.
Yeah.
They're not standing next to you every day. They're not, So that was sort of my ideology. Was like, I'm meeting new bands every day. Well, I'm not here to push the gear on you, but I'm here to introduce you to the product.
Right.
If you want to use it, cool. If you don't, I get it. It's not for everybody,
Right.
Like we said earlier in the show, just because I do it one way doesn't mean it's right. We all have ways of doing things. And, but yeah, so just brand awareness,
Yeah.
sort of, how I started going about that.
Hello, motherfucker.
So, that's awesome, dude. And please, I got your socials up there. Please, everybody, Hoogie's the bomb, dude. Just follow him, check out the stuff.
Feel free, hit me up.
I use a bunch of it. I mean,
Any
lizard spit
questions?
I live by. Yeah, any
Yeah.
questions he'll answer. He's really gullible. So, if you had one piece of advice to give an up and coming one of us, and I know you've thought about it, and I know you've probably been asked about it, what would you tell them now?
Hello,
I mean,
motherfucker.
hello. Yeah.
Hello?
Just one day at a time.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Like we've discussed already. listen more than over speaking. It's an interesting world we're in, out here day in and day out.
Well, it's like,
So
I tell people, don't let this industry consume you, because it
yeah,
will. It
yeah.
will eat you alive and not give a damn about you when it's done with you.
No,
It will
no,
use you and use you and use you, and then don't care about you. What?
no.
There's I always heard the phrase, "Well, there's 10 more guys behind you who want your job." Well, then motherfucker, let them have it.
Have it.
Don't care,
Go to it.
you know?
This
All
is
right.
what I need to be happy. And if it can't be worked out, then I understand it can't be worked out.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I want to thank Hoogie for being on my first podcast. I hope this goes somewhere, because I actually had fun and I feel a little bit more better now that I did it with a friend. Check out Hoogie's socials. Show him some love. Everybody, thank you, everybody. Hoogie, I honestly, I appreciate you, brother. And thank you
Likewise.
so damn much. I mean, and when you see the boys, punch Sanders in the nuts for me. Give Baker a hug for me. Hug Fape, and hug Sanders too. Hug the Sanchez. So
There's always a deep, long hug with him.
I know. I
Yeah.
miss the Sanchez hugs, man. So, all right, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Be
we'll
safe.
talk soon. Be good, brother.
Bye now.